Amitabha, welcome back. Ong Ahum, Namo Avalokiteshvara, Amen, Ae I O U, Ashe. Yeah, today I'm going to yap about the Bodhisattva path. What's a Bodhisattva? A Bodhisattva is a being who has incarnated in this time and space to assist in collective awakening. You might be that consciously or unconsciously, but your path, your Bodhisattva path, traditionally speaking, in Mahayana Buddhism, starts when you take a Bodhisattva vow, which is essentially a vow to bring about the collective awakening by working on your individual awakening in relationship with all beings. The specifics of the vow can look different if you're talking about a Zen practitioner or a Indo-Tibetan Vajrayana practitioner, or, even outside of Buddhism. The word itself, bodhisattva, is a Buddhist term, technically, but the actual essence of what it is, this compassionate impulse to awaken this one life that we all are, that transcends all man-made traditions, whether it's Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, whatever. The Bodhisattva path is a path of paradox, because on the one hand, your awakening means your recognition of the true self, recognition of formless awareness, Buddha nature, Christ consciousness, the witness at the center of your experience when you do your apophatic or self-inquiry type of meditation, asking, who am I? Not this, neti, neti. And you abide in the stillness that is your effortless presence, consciousness, and maybe bliss, Sat Chit Ananda. Then you notice, if there's bliss, then that bliss is experienced here and now in this body. That bliss is experienced here and now in this heart mind. If it's physical tingling, if it's emotional effervescence, it's experienced in this avatar. So it's not detached. Detached. I guess it is detached. It's not fully separated, not fully detached, not dissociated, completely not dissociated. It's fully in association, in union with this mind body, which implies connection with other mind bodies, meaning that you're in contact with other people. You're in contact with the rest of this world. And that's a paradox. That your awakening, your inner recognition of the true self, is bound up with the compassionate impulses that will appear in your mind body space when you're in relation to others. For example, you can sit in your formless consciousness, formless awareness, but then when you come into contact with another person and you hear their story or you see their suffering and the sadness that they experience, you start to feel, you start to resonate with, you start to empathize with. And that sadness starts to grow and maybe blossom into a fiery, righteous anger or wrath, which is another form of compassionate impulse. The impulse to correct something that's wrong, maybe forcefully, if the situation calls for it. And therein lies the danger. Maybe danger is a strong word, but there's where you want to be aware, because in relation to the apparent other being, the other situation out there, the news report, the best friend sob story, the person experiencing homelessness, the XYZ, all different sorts of situations in this human experience, coming into contact with it, and that sadness and that anger that comes up in your system, it's an opportunity to let some divine inspiration flow through you into action, where you are not identified with the doer, but you are allowing something to unfold for the benefit of all beings, or at least for the benefit of one being who you're helping. But you don't want to get identified. You don't want to well, honestly, you can't help but get identified to some degree. But you can rely on your awareness. You can rely on the fact that anything that appears and disappears is not the eternal self. Then there's really no danger. Yeah, I'm noticing myself even now as I'm speaking this, kind of speaking from two different perspectives. This is the paradox again. There's not really a danger of over identification if you are fully trusting in the Most High, in the highest self, in the formless, timeless, omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent one that we all are. But it's normal also to slip into the dream, to have moments of temporary identification with the mind and the body, identification with the doer, the actions, the relationships with other people, with other beings, with other situations that are apparently outside of yourself, where you are playing a role of a friend, of a helper, of a teacher, of a relative, of a participant, of a constituent. You're forming part. You are adding onto something that's larger than yourself, larger than this limited self, this relative self, this mind body. Which is the normal uh, way of being that we can observe out here, that we're taught to participate in. And then on the other hand, because of this, because of that being the norm, there's the need to recognize the true self, to come back into awareness of the formlessness. And sometimes that requires faith. Faith in the bigger picture, faith in the largest self, God, life, universe, the one, the monad, the ultimate one that's enthroned right here and now in the center of your being. Trusting that it is not, that you are not confined to the center of your being, but that ultimately you're one with this entire universe throughout all of space and time, in every direction, as far as the senses perceive and beyond the senses' ability to perceive. So there's a dance. There's a dance of being in contact with life, with others, allowing compassionate impulses of thoughts, words, and actions to impact your friends, your families, your loved ones, your strangers, your neighbors, your coworkers, etc., for the benefit of all beings. And then swaying back over here, surrendering to the one, letting go of the limited self, the mind body, the name, the form, your story, your ethnicity, your race, your gender, your sexuality, your nationality, your political affiliation, your labels, your favorite sports team. I don't know, what do people identify with? Everything you identify with, everything you use to create your identity. I'm not saying you should stop and throw them all away. Maybe you should. Everyone's different. Everyone is at a different place in their journey. If you're on the Bodhisattva path, whether you call it that or not, there is a different set of instructions for different people at different times at different places. So, if you identify with certain things and those are close to your heart, there might be a deeper wisdom around why you are so deeply associated with that. You might be incarnated here with those certain identities for a reason. You might be here to demonstrate something with your existence. You might be here to do or say something with your existence in these particular identities, to relate to other people with those shared identities, to relate to people with different identities, to promote unity, to bring about clarification. Who knows? There could be any number of reasons why you are born where you're born at the certain time, in this certain way, as this certain person with these certain identities. And yet, at the same time, it doesn't negate the importance of recognizing your true self beyond name and form. Even if it's only for half a second every other day or every day. Let's be ambitious. Every day, even if it's for a moment, if you can at least have the intention, the aspiration to come into contact with the deeper aspect of yourself, the aspect of yourself that observes all things appearing and disappearing, not just the thought of who you are, not just the image, the ideal of who you aspire to be, but that which observes it. Your ideal is observed. By what is it observed? By you. Who are you? What are you? I'm a human. I'm this. I'm that. Any answer that appears in your mind when you ask the question, what am I? Who am I? That answer that appears is an object. It's a thought. It's a feeling. It may be true in this relative reality of time and space. It may be true, but nonetheless, it's something that appeared in your awareness. What is that thing that observes the appearance? What is it? Who is it that is timelessly here, never arrived, never leaves, birthless and deathless? It sounds big, it sounds deep, it might sound heavy. It's really not that big of a deal. It's just the truth of how things are. It's just the subtle, unnoticed, in a way not noticeable, because it is that which notice is. Omniscient aspect of life itself. Which brings us to the other side, the other danger maybe of spiritual bypassing. You know, some of you, what I just said doesn't really apply to you. You're very much tapped into the higher or more, or the deeper, the subtler aspects of yourself. You're very much tapped into the universal consciousness. But are you tapped in so much to the detriment, actually, of your mind body? Are you so zoned out? Are you so expansive that you have lost touch with the mind body, that you've lost touch with normal people, normal, unenlightened, unawakened, sleeping people, all the sheep, the sheeple? Do you call people sheeple? Are you condescending in that way? Maybe, or maybe not. Maybe it's more subtle for you. Maybe you are sincerely wanting to walk the path, so to speak, but whenever something painful comes up, whenever something heavy or uncomfortable comes up in your own meditations and contemplations, or in your conversations with other people, somehow it's too much for you. Like, nah, I'd rather just love and light. I'd rather just, you know, let's just be, I just want to feel peace and bliss. And no, all of that's just conditioned existence is not real. It's all an illusion. It's all Maya. Does that sound like you? If that sounds like you might want to consider the fact that this Maya, this magical illusion, is also called Lila. It's a playful game. Okay, sometimes it's painful, sometimes it's fun. And you don't have any control over that, which might be scary, which is often scary for most of us. And that fear, again, this is very subtle. It might not be in a really overt fear that you're having, but a subtle fear, aversion, being averse, not wanting to come into contact with these more maybe dense, heavy conditions of humanity, limited by time and space, names and forms and whatnot, that you're calling an illusion, that are an illusion, but they are an illusion that you're living in. It is a dream, but you are having this dream. So participate. Let's be lucid in the dream. Don't escape from it. If my point is, if your first impulse is to escape from it, to dissociate from it, you might be missing an opportunity to alchemize your emotions, to transmute the energy of this situation or this relationship or this person or whatever you're going through. There might be a lesson to learn. There might be an experience for you, for this limited mind body aspect of you to go through on its journey, on your journey. But who knows? Whether you are the type to spiritually bypass and dissociate and want to just be love and light and not mess with these painful emotions and heavy negative vibes. You just, oh, good vibes only. Like if you're that, maybe that's one thing. Or you're fully deeply enmeshed and entrenched and identified, and you want to you want to save the world. You want to help everyone. You want to help yourself. Or maybe you're just, yeah, maybe it is just helping yourself. Either way, whether you're trying to help everyone and you're constantly scrambling around, or you are just deeply identified with your own pain, that identification is limiting you. So there's a balance. And what that balance looks like is different for every person and every situation, right? And it's not a static balance, you know? When you're on a tightrope, you're doing this, you're kind of swaying from side to side. Maybe you kind of touch one extreme, and then you touch the other extreme, and you find a balance momentarily, but then you're over here again. So there's a swaying, there's a dancing, there's a moving. Maybe that's the play. That's the lila. That's the joyful experience of life, even when the moment itself is not joyful. And when the moment is not so joyful, you can surrender to the highest. Surrender your intentions to the highest self. Continue to do your actions. Here's that paradox again. Continue to think, speak, and act out of compassion for yourself and for all beings, to help, to do whatever you can that will have a positive impact. But let go of the final outcome. Let go of how it's going to come about. Let go of identification with the doer. Let go of identification with the reaper of the benefits or the reaper of the negative consequences. You may still receive those benefits and you may still receive those negative consequences, but that's just information coming back from the creation, from the manifestation. That's just information coming back to the source. And I'm pointing like this, not to say that this mind body named Adrian is the source, but that within this mind body, beyond the name, beyond the form, is the source. The kingdom of heaven is within and without, beyond in and out, beyond name and form. So I don't want to ramble too much. If you're on the Bodhisattva path, let me know. Subscribe to this channel. Sign up for my email list to stay in contact. I feel like more and more bodhisattvas are waking up to the fact that they incarnated on this planet for a reason, and we're all discovering what our individual roles are. We all have different roles to play in this collective awakening. So hopefully me playing the role of the video making can help you in that process. In any case, leave a comment and let me know what this discussion has brought up for you. And yeah, like and subscribe and all of that good stuff. In the meantime, peace be with us.